Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for being here with us today. Welcome to Ritual, Creativity, and Art, Unlocking the Magic in Your Home. In this global conference, we're bringing together expert speakers to share their insights on well-being, rituals, energy systems, holistic spaces, and art. Together, we will explore how our homes can become both foundations for personal and global transformation. By deepening our self-awareness and creative power, we can align our spaces with our true essence, elevate our energy, and feel inspired to positively influence our surroundings. This journey is all about hope and about empowering ourselves to transform our reality, live mindfully, and contribute to a more conscious and harmonious world. I am Maria Isabel Barrero, your host and guide for this event, and today I am very excited to be with Hilda Carroll. Welcome, Hilda. It is a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this.
Hilda is a remote interior designer and a meditation teacher dedicated to creating spaces that nurture well-being. With an emphasis on mindful design, Hilda believes that our homes should support us, not just functionally, but emotionally and energetically. By blending interior design principles with more metaphysical teachings. So, Hilda, I would love to start by asking you to share a little bit of your story and what led you to this path of working with homes and helping people through their homes.
Well, it was a bit circuitous, Maria. I started out in a completely different field. I started out doing fundraising for charities, and then I moved into corporate PR and marketing. But that didn't sit very well with me. And after a difficult experience, I decided to train as a life coach. And that changed everything for me, the life coach training. It opened my eyes up to the world in a whole new way. It shifted me from being a very closed-minded, skeptical person to be much more open-minded and more spiritually aware. And yeah, it led me down a different path and immersed me in the world of personal development. And from there, I became very interested in meditation. I kept reading about the benefits of meditation, and I was trying to meditate. I was following things that I was reading online and in books and different ways, because at the time in Ireland there wouldn't have been a lot of meditation teachers. When was this? It was in the noughties. So yeah, so it was kind of through third-party resources that I was trying, and I couldn't do it right, or at least I thought I couldn't do it right. And then through a crazy synchronicity, I ended up at a gathering where a woman was teaching us, talking about her meditation trainings, and she taught us a technique which made a real difference to my practice. And so I signed up for a weekend course with her, and I learned how to meditate. And I've been a daily meditator since that training. And she was trained by Deepak Chopra, and she happened to be bringing Deepak Chopra to Ireland, to Dublin, that summer, only like 3 months after that, for I think it was a 5-day retreat. And so I signed up to that. I went along to that. And in the middle of that 5-day retreat, I ended up signing up with them to become a meditation teacher. Yeah. And so that I thought was going to be the end of my own learning. I thought that's enough schooling now for one lifetime. But I had, not long before that, I'd say in the year before all of that happened, I had bought my own little house in Dublin. And when I bought that, it really unleashed my own passion for interior design. I was always interested, but I never realized how deep my interest went until I bought that house. And then I was obsessed. And when my friends saw what I did to the house, they were all saying, "Oh, you should train to be an interior designer. You should be an interior designer." And I was like, no, too much, too much learning. I'm done with that. So I liked the idea, but I wasn't on for any more learning. So I just parked it. And it took 10 years for me to come around and to actually allow myself to do that training. And initially I was doing it just for myself, just to deepen my own knowledge. But as with the meditation and with the life coaching, there is a really strong teacher archetype in my psyche. And when I did that training, I knew that I wanted to teach other people how to do this for themselves, because interior design isn't something that everybody can afford. It's an expensive service for good reason, like an awful lot of time and energy and work goes into it. So it's a minority of people who have the ability to afford that service. And so when I finally did that training, I wanted to be able to bring it to people in a much more affordable way. And remote remote design was kind of, it was young. I mean, it was taking off in the States, but where in Ireland you wouldn't have heard of it at all then. And now it's huge, and thankfully most people have access to this because of remote design. Whether, so it doesn't matter what your budget is, most people can now afford a way into that and to get some guidance. But yeah, my passion really is to teach people how to do it for themselves.
And I saw on your website a picture of your home, and it's absolutely lovely. It looks like little paradise. So I love your story on how when you start doing something for yourself, it leads you to the path of helping others and giving that to others. And I love also
Yeah.
what you mentioned about, interior design. We have this idea that it has to be like a super expensive service that you have to pay and bring someone out to tell you or do something for you that you can really do for yourself. Is like taking care of yourself, but in another
Mhm.
level. So yes, I love that.
Absolutely. And it should be like everything for me is about, it's about self-care, and interior design should be self-care as well. And it should be ongoing, evolving, never finished, nothing to be beating yourself up about, and not striving for perfection, just constantly taking steps to create a home that supports you on every level.
Yes, absolutely. Also, it makes me think about how our spaces are like the next layer of our bodies. Like we have kind of like different bodies, and how we have
Mhm.
this first, this physical vessel, our body, and then we have our spaces that contain us at all times. So it's like a very easy way to look at ourselves too in
Yeah.
that level.
Absolutely. I say to people all the time, our bodies are temples for our minds and our souls, but our homes are temples for all of that, for the physical, the mental, and the emotional. And therefore, our homes, we should look at our homes as temples. That doesn't mean that they have to be absolutely perfect, but just if you regard it as a sacred space, your home is a sacred space, even if you don't consciously label it as that. It is that. And if you kind of start to recognize that and treat it through simple things, just through the way that you clean and organize and declutter, it doesn't have to be buying expensive furniture or putting up lavish wallpaper. It doesn't have to be any of that. It's all about the intention that you bring to how you care for and maintain your space.
Absolutely. So, Hilda, you believe our homes should support our well-being, not just look beautiful. So, can you share how designing our interiors can impact our mental, emotional, and even physical health?
Well, yeah. So as I was saying, like I really believe that they're containers for us, and they hold our energy, and reflect that back to us. So if we can be mindful of that and tune into how we're feeling in each space within our homes, and how maybe the space itself is impacting on our mood, then we can be more inspired as to what tweaks we need to make, or what changes we need to make in order to set it up so that it supports our well-being in a better way. Because it works, it's like an inside out, outside in thing for me. Like our space, if your space is decluttered or cluttered and chaos, that gets in on us mentally and emotionally. It can drag our energy down, and then it's a bit difficult to kind of to sort it out. But the flip side is also that if we're going through a stressful period in time, we might normally be very organized and on top of our home care. But when things are really difficult, it's hard to stay on top of that. And so if we're not at ease internally, then we unintentionally can create dis-ease externally as well. So how we're feeling internally, we create a reflection of that externally. But if we can tune into that and be consciously aware of that, then by making small changes externally, it can then start to improve things for us again internally. Is this making sense?
Yes, for sure. It's like a communication, a dialogue that you have with your space. Like your space is talking to you at all times. Sometimes screams to you,
Yes.
yells at you, and sometimes it's a lot of ease and is
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Yeah, and so being aware of that and recognizing that you have a relationship with your home, and like any other relationship, the more care you put into it, the more you're going to get back out of it. But it's a symbiotic relationship. If you look after your home will look after you.
absolutely. So many people feel very overwhelmed when starting the design process and what it will come, So what would be what is your approach to helping someone discover what truly feels right for them in their home and start this process of designing?
Well, so I mean, I can understand the overwhelm. When I decide to change something myself, I can feel overwhelmed too. There's just so much choice out there. It's hard not to be overwhelmed. But so what I would do with them is ask them to kind of to park all of the inspiration stuff for a while and to focus on the well-being piece. And I lean heavily on color psychology and in particular seasonal personality types. So it's a bit like other personality categorizing systems, but it works with the season. So it says we're spring, summer, autumn, or winter. But you wouldn't be just spring or just summer. Most of us would be a blend, which have a kind of a dominant season and a secondary season. And you might even recognize a tertiary season as well. But it's if we can become aware of what our most dominant seasons are, it can help us with the design process, because it really, like, according to different seasons, people are drawn to different kinds of careers. They have different interests, they have different fashion styles, and it also influences their taste in interiors. So if you can get clear around that, it can help you to rule lots of things out and then to start to narrow things down. So when I'm working with a client, I've created a quiz to help them. And actually, it's on my website. It's free. Anybody can find it on my website. And I have a YouTube video on it as well. But the first thing I do is I ask them to, as part of their intake, when they're sending images in the brief, to take that quiz so that I can get a good steer on what their primary and secondary personality types are. And that really helps me and it helps them. And it's also a really useful tool for couples or housemates. If you're sharing your home with other people and you don't have the same style, you have to try and curate a blend that works for both of you. And that really helps because it can help you to find the crossover. So yeah, that would be my starting point with clients.
Well, that sounds like a lovely starting by looking at an archetypal kind of like energy with it.
Yeah.
So also you teach meditation and mindful living. How does this practice inform the way you approach home design? And how can someone bring more mindfulness into their home environment?
So, well, the meditation really is that's what informed my choice when I trained as a designer, because of the meditation, the background of meditation. That's where the intention to come at it from a well-being point of view. Well, I think also the life coaching instilled in me the importance of practicing self-care. I wouldn't have been very good at that before that. So that background in life coaching and meditation really informed my approach to designing from the perspective of prioritizing your well-being. So yeah, so that was how it informed it, and it really made me connect the dots between how our outer world impacts on our inner and how our inner world impacts on our outer. So it was that background. Then in terms of actually bringing it into your home design, it doesn't have to be complicated at all. It's really about being intentional and first of all setting the intention with yourself to be more aware of how you feel in your home and how you feel in different areas of your home, and be aware of where the clutter hotspots are. And if you're feng shui can be a really helpful tool, and I do actually lean on that a little bit in terms of helping you to connect maybe chaos in a different part of your home with chaos in a different part of your life, and then setting the intention to sort it out on the physical level in order to help you also sort it out on the metaphysical level. Yeah, so I don't know, have I answered both parts of the question now?
Yes, and I love how you bring that. It doesn't need to be anything complicated. That is just like a
No.
presence, like these days with so much speed and information, and we are in 10 times at the same time and connected in so many ways,
Yeah.
but disconnected with what we feel and at each
Yeah.
given time. So I love how you bring this simple tool of being aware of your.
Yeah. Yeah, the way I approach interior design in general is it's I regard it as a process in self-awareness as much as in design. And I think when you do tune into your home more and kind of practice that awareness, I think you kind of easily then kind of take a step back and try to slow down in your day-to-day life and how you spend the time in your home, and it becomes easier to introduce rituals instead of like, because we all have everyday routines, but a lot of them we practice mindlessly. For example, your breakfast in the morning is, for many people, that's a rush job. It's standing up, making maybe toast and something, and standing up and gulping down the coffee. Whereas when you start to tune into this process of what do I need to support my well-being, you're, I think, more inspired, more motivated to turn that rushed routine into a quieter, calmer ritual where you're fully present to the whole experience, to boiling the water, to choosing your favorite cup, to deciding am I having coffee or am I having tea, and sitting down and taking the time to enjoy your breakfast. And other things like chores, everyday household chores, can be turned into rituals as well, like a 5 or 10 minute reset in the evening before you go to bed, fluffing the cushions, folding the throws, washing your cup or glass or whatever, so that you're going to bed with a calm space, which that helps us, our minds, like if we do a ritual like this, it helps our minds to quieten down so it's easier to fall asleep. And then we're waking up in the morning to a calm space, which is going to put us in a better space for taking the time to enjoy your coffee. And even just when you're doing your cleaning, you can be wiping down countertops or doing your polishing or your hooving while chanting the mantra. I often do that. I, would put on, there's a channel on YouTube, I think it's called Meditative Mind, and they have beautiful chants. And so I often put that on while I'm cleaning. And even if you're just sweeping the floor, I know in Bali, I think it's a daily ritual to sweep the floors every morning, and the intention with the sweeping is that you're sweeping out what doesn't serve, and you're not just cleaning the floor, but you're cleansing the space. Yeah, I just think turning everyday mundane things into something, into ritualizing everyday mundane things, can really transform the relationship we have with ourselves and the relationship we have with our home.
And I love also what you bring about enjoying, like bringing more joy to daily tasks because it is our everyday little tasks that make our life. Like we
Absolutely. Yeah.
super goals far away, but that is like the mini actions every day that we can build up like a joy attitude towards our living
Yeah.
that comprehends on so many little tasks and activities. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up. And I also wanted to ask you if someone is feeling disconnected from their space or uninspired by their home, what is one simple yet powerful step they can make today to start transforming it?
Well, I love to do a space clearing ceremony, and I think a lot of people, well, some people will be aware of it because they may be aware of smudging. That's one way that you can space clear. You can use lots of different tools. But I think there's a sense that it's a complicated process, and it doesn't have to be at all. It can be very simple. And the tool that you use isn't that important. The important thing is that you're doing it intentionally, that you're mindfully purifying the energy in your home with the intention of releasing what doesn't serve you, so that you're cleansing the atmosphere and to allow new opportunities to come in, to allow more of what you do want to come in. And yeah, I think it's so simple, and it is my free gift for people on this summit, is a guide to doing that, and it goes through steps using a number of different elements, but you could do it with just one. You could download that guide today and do a simple space clearing ceremony today. But I would do it regularly after decluttering, always after decluttering. But if you can't face decluttering, then do it first, and it might help to shift the energy so you're more motivated to declutter. But then always again after you finish decluttering, I would do a space clearing ceremony. If somebody in your home has been sick for a period of time, a space clear, and if there's been an argument, if you're moving into a new home, if you're moving out of an old home, cleanse the space, because all of that is working with the energy, it's purifying it, and it's helping you to be more consciously connected to your home.
Also, it makes me think about resetting, like resetting the energy, resetting the environment.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's lovely. Thank you.
I mean, another thing you could do, sorry, you asked for one, but just popping into my mind is just declutter some small area of your home, just a drawer, one little drawer that's been driving you nuts, declutter it. But before you declutter it, set the intention to release what doesn't serve you, or set the intention to receive insights as to what will serve you. Just set an intention that's going to serve you, and then declutter and see what happens afterwards. Don't be expecting something to drop in straight away, because when we're looking for an answer, it kind of evades us. But often when you set an intention and declutter, and then afterwards, just going about your day, the answers start to drop in.
Yeah, it's basically just like being aware and mindful and intentional with our actions. So
Yeah.
give us like they have a purpose on it. They have a gift after we
Yes.
do tasks.
Yes. Yes.
So Hilda, I also wanted to ask you, how do you believe that working with our homes can help us create a better world? Because some people tend to think that this might be a very superficial
Mm.
conversation, decoration. But
Yeah.
what is that deeper aspect that you see in designing our homes to bring a new world?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's nothing superficial about caring for your home, nothing at all. As I said, it's a self-care practice. Caring for your home is a self-care practice. And if we can create a home that nurtures us physically, mentally, emotionally, then that has an impact on how we interact with the world around us. If we're more grounded and we're feeling more at peace, then we go out into the world with more patience, more kindness, more presence, and we're better partners, we're better friends, we're better parents, we're better colleagues. There is a ripple effect that comes from our being in a good space. And if our homes nurture us, then that puts us in a better spot to be in a good space. So I don't see it as being just about us. It's not just a selfish act. Like looking after home is also, it's looking after, well, everybody who lives in it, but also everybody that you interact with, and then who they interact with and who they interact with. There's a ripple effect that goes way beyond what we can see, just because we've taken the time to nurture ourselves by looking after our home and setting our home up the way that suits us, rather than the way the fast moving trends are telling us we should set them up.
Yes, and that makes so much sense. That thinking that, beyond everything material, there is energy, and how this energy that we cultivate and we nurture can impact and affect everything that is around us, and making these waves of motion in other levels. So I
Yeah.
also love how we can share a similar language, in this conversation, because I truly
Yes.
all of this. So yeah, thank you so much. And so Hilda has prepared a wonderful gift for all of you. She already mentioned a little bit about it. It's a guide to completing a space clearing ritual. The link to access the free gift will be posted below in the description of this video. And Hilda, would you like to offer any other additional insight on this free gift?
Yeah, well, so it's a really simple step-by-step guide to conducting a space clearing ceremony. So it's just to demystify it and make it feel accessible to you so that you can do it today. Yeah, and I have other freebies on my website, but that's not publicly available. It's actually taken from, I have an online course. It's called Creating Sanctuary, Your Roadmap to a Happier, Harmonious Home. And it's one of many tools that's taken from that.
Hilda, thank you so much for your thoughtful contributions today and the wisdom you brought to this discussion. I really appreciate this conversation that we had with you.
Thank you, Maria. I really enjoyed it, and I'm finding some synergy between us, and it's fabulous. I'm like so excited that you created this summit, and I can't wait to see everybody's talks. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you so much, Hilda, and many thanks to each one of you attending. Have a lovely day, and we'll see you in our next gathering. Thank you so much. Bye, Hilda.
Bye, Maria.